Okay. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to self-care and hair care, embarking on the journey after the trials of cancer. I want to introduce myself. I am the founder of Pink Divas United, Astrid Shover, and I was diagnosed in 2018, 6 years ago, with stage 2 breast cancer. It was invasive lobular carcinoma, and I also carry the BRCA2 gene. And it has definitely been a journey, to say the least. I am thankful that through my faith in God, He has gotten me to the point of where I am today. Standing strong, still going through some health challenges, if you will, but nothing that God can't take care of. And I wanted to have these self-care series. So right now we're doing self-care and hair care. The next one will be self-care and health care. And then in the future, we'll do a self-care and skincare because, of course, as you know, our bodies change so much after cancer, whether you went through chemotherapy or whether you've gone through radiation, or even if it was just a lumpectomy and you didn't have to do any types of treatments. Our bodies have definitely gone through a lot of trauma, and we need to make sure that we're recognizing these things and having a safe space where we can talk about these issues, especially hear from our experts. So I want to introduce our first panelist, Miss Belinda Baker, who is also a director for Pink Divas United, and also my longtime loyal client, because prior to me getting diagnosed to breast cancer, I operated and owned a faith-based fitness business in Atlanta called Salt and Light Fitness. And Belinda Baker was one of my clients, and I trained her up until the day before I had my double mastectomy. I mean, nothing but God, right? And I see we're getting more people coming, and we have about 7 people right now. So all glory be to God. Belinda Baker is the owner of Salon BKB in Decatur, Georgia. She has over 35 years of experience in the hair industry, not only as a hair loss expert, but also a color expert and educator. And she's just an entrepreneur of so many different facets in life. So welcome, Belinda. Thank you so much. And then we also have our other hair loss expert, Miss Kelly Thadison, who is an award-winning entrepreneur, an educator, a cosmetologist, and she has a passion for helping women to recognize self-care and wellness and balance that. And she does a lot of different collaborations, and she's based out of Massachusetts and as well as Atlanta. So the unique beauty of hair care and the beauty world is just the collaboration between two dynamic powerhouses, which we have here now. And I definitely want to make sure I mention about our raffle. So, ladies, we have a raffle, and our raffle is worth $400, but it's going to be yours complimentary. Okay. So, we have a few different rules in order to qualify to receive this. So, the raffle is a in-person or a virtual consultation with our trichologist, who is Miss Kelly Thadison. It's a 30-minute consultation. And during that consultation, Kelly will kind of go over the basics and really tailor something to you, okay? In order to win this, you would need to tag 3 other breast cancer survivors or either 3 other women to Pink Divas United on IG, Salon BKB on IG, and Miss Kelly Thadison on IG. So Kelly and Belinda, if you can put your handles in the chat so that way these ladies can get at it. And I will be announcing the winner on Wednesday of this week on Facebook Live with Kelly on the Pink Divas United Facebook page. Okay, so make sure you follow us there. And at that time, once we announce the winner, Kelly Thadison will email you her calendar link, and then you can basically put in your appointment or schedule your consultation based on her availability. So, ladies, I'm going to allow you two to take it away, okay? I can go on and on and on and talk about how great both of you guys are, but we really want to hear from you as breast cancer survivors on how to overcome this hair loss, how to balance self-care and hair care. So take it away.
Well, thank you, Astrid. As always, I love just hearing your testimony on how God has always showed up and showed out in your life, and I feel honored to have been there through it now and continuing. So, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And Kelly, we are ready. We are ready to share all of this wealth of information.
All right, let's get into it.
Well, I always like to present it in a form where we can kind of start at the beginning. And part of that beginning is just talking about the fact that in some cases we have attendees that may have lost some of their hair. They may have lost a great portion of their hair, or they may have had a little loss. But let's kind of backtrack as to where the hair loss stemmed from. Okay, in that when you have these treatments or you get the diagnosis and the treatments are then prescribed for you, that there's this toxin that is prescribed to eliminate something in your body and eradicate it. And the fact that it really doesn't have a like smart chip in it to tell it, oh, go for that cell, but don't go for this cell, right?
Right.
So talk a little bit about, why the treatments can be so invasive and cause the hair loss itself.
Well, like you said, the cells don't have smart chips. They don't know, I'm gonna run away from whatever is entering in my body so it doesn't kill me. When you get chemo treatments or medications, they attack and kill all the cells. They want to get rid of it all. So that's the downside of it, and it attacks hair cells. It attacks all the cells. So the chemo medicine doesn't discriminate against cells. It's going after it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And one of those things that always is very intriguing is the fact that you have various treatments depending on what your diagnosis is, and as such, the premise is still the same, that there's a toxic environment created that now your body is subjected to, and the hair follicle is interrupted. The growth cycle becomes interrupted, and so that leads us into, as we talked about, the fact that the chemo itself or the radiation or the hormonal therapy, whichever one, based on and Astrid, I'm sure, is in the back office taking a look for those who are sharing. It all stems from that same root cause, an invasion of your normal process in your body. So as a trichologist, right, this is something you deal with, especially in the consultation, is to find the cause. Because once you can start there, now you prescribe according to what you're learning in the consultation. So, toxins. So we have these toxins in our body, right? On average, about how long does it take, for your body to rid itself, of toxins and then begin to grow a healthier, head of hair?
Typically 90 to 120 days. That's how long it takes for your cells to turn over in your body. That's why, like, when you get blood work done, they want to do it like every 3 months or every 6 months. That's the time frame. That's a good gauge to just let everything just kind of flush out of your body.
So what we would love to share here is that, if you do experience some hair loss, about every 3 months is a good gauge to be able to take a look at the improvement cycle of the
Yes.
growth of your hair, right?
Yes. Typically, from what I've learned and from what I've seen, people who have had hair loss, and I also want to say, not every chemo drug will make you lose your hair. Some of them won't. And I've had clients who have went through chemo and for breast cancer and did not lose their hair at all. Um,
Mhm.
but typically, you want to check, like you said, every 3 months.
Mhm.
Some people, everybody's different, you know. Everyone's cells turn over, every three months or 120 days, but everybody's body works differently. Some may work slow. Some people may have more toxins in their body. They may have other toxins. They may have other things going on in their bodies in addition to the chemo treatments and the cancer that could cause a delay for their hair to grow back. So
Right.
that's where meeting with
That's where
someone
the
like me would help,
yes,
to
yes,
pinpoint what's going on, you know?
yes.
Hmm.
That's the vitalness of the consultation, to be able to dig a little bit deeper to find out more information that gives you
Hmm.
a better understanding.
Hmm.
Um, I tell all of the clients, you are as unique as your fingerprint. There are no two people on this earth that have the same fingerprint. So
Hmm.
our DNA is just that unique in terms of our hair follicle, our growth cycles, our bodily systems and how they function together. And
Hmm.
so that's why a consultation with a trichologist takes you a little deeper than a master stylist who may have experience but may not be able to go deeper into the cause or the effect
Yes.
that may have happened, right?
Hmm.
So every 3 months we're kind of looking at a review of what's happening, right? So now let's say someone has gone through, they lost some of the hair, it started to grow back. Now it's about 3 months in, about the 6 month time frame, they're starting to see their hair grow back in, but the hair feels different now. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it did before.
Yeah.
What's happening in this process? What's going on?
So when I was reading, I was doing some research and they call them chemo curls, you know, it's like baby hair. It's like brand new hair coming in.
Yes,
You think about when a baby is born and they grow their hair and they go, oh, look at the baby's hair. And then they get older and they're like, well, what happened? I thought it was soft and curly and you had these little cute pigtails and now it's, coarse and thick and it's like new hair. It's brand new hair that's
yes,
coming in. That's why it feels
yes,
different.
yes.
Yeah.
It hasn't
Mhm.
been exposed to any of the toxins because the toxins have been released from your body, or a good majority of them
Mhm.
have been released from the body. So you now have this, I call it non-corrupt
Yeah.
hair. It's
No
new.
chemicals, no blowouts, no harsh products. Like it's brand new.
Yes,
That's virgin hair.
that's virgin hair. That's
Yeah.
virgin hair. And so I know that Astrid and I had talked about this before. You now start to get the hair back. You're excited. And so you want to now color your hair and you want to go back to those things that you were doing before.
Hmm.
And of course, you're now introducing chemicals to this virgin hair. So it may change.
It may change.
It may change.
It may change. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that because there then becomes this, okay, should you go directly back into chemicals within that first 3 months or 6 months afterwards?
I do not recommend that. They say you can. They say you can after like 6 months afterwards you can, but I would kind of wait. I would wait at least a year just to see what your body. I mean, Astrid shared, how her hair is still, you know what I mean, going through, and you don't know how your body's going to respond and react to chemicals. Your body
Right.
just went through this whole traumatic experience, and your hair cells are not essential to your body.
Right.
You don't need hair to live. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's gonna be if something is still happening inside of your body and you go and put these harsh chemicals on it, it may decide I'm not gonna go. I don't want to be here. You know? So yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Add
And
to
so
that,
let's.
Belinda, if I can add to that really quickly,
Mhm.
I realized that my hair and Lala and Sarita, you can probably speak to this too. Um, my hair kind of went through phases as it was growing back from chemotherapy. It
Hmm.
was, like this pin straight little, spikes happening, and then eventually went into the whole chemo curls, and then it started to get a little thicker, right? And if you can explain the difference between a big chop, right? Some people think, oh, well, if I just shave all my hair off, right, then I'll have
Hmm.
that same effect versus actually losing your hair from the inside out, like chemotherapy, to the point where it changes your entire texture. I mean, even now, 6 years later, my hair texture is so different than prior to me even being diagnosed with cancer. So can you kind of expound on that a little bit, Kelly and Belinda?
So you said it's describe the difference between a big chop versus like
Just
allowing your hair to do what it does during the chemo.
Yeah, just the difference in the textures, right? And the sensitivity of the hair itself between losing your hair from chemotherapy, right? That hair that has grown back versus someone that decides just to shave all their hair off, right? Thinking that new follicles are going to grow back. What is the difference between those two hair strands, those two types of hair follicles?
Well, the hair follicle is the same. If I'm understanding your question
Or
right,
the type of hair?
the
Because,
type of well, the hair.
Well, Kelly, let me jump in for a second.
Okay, I think I'm getting the
The
question confused.
yeah, the introduction of a toxic chemical changed internally. And so with the chemo or radiation or anything where the toxins or exposure to toxins, you're going to lose hair because it's an internal issue. And so the hair follicle was the it was the growth in this cycle was interrupted.
Yes.
And so once it starts to grow back, once it starts to normalize, I think is a better way to say that. Once it starts to normalize, it now is learning to grow all over again. It's like a baby.
Yeah.
But now, for a person who decides to take the clippers and just cut and buzz the hair off, there was no internal change. You still have all of the toxins on the inside of your body, your food distribution, your blood circulatory system is the same, your endocrine system is still the same. So it is going to produce the same hair type that you had before. Unlike when you go through cancer treatments, you now are rebooting, you are starting new. And so you have two different tracks that will happen here as opposed to just doing a big chop, cutting it off. You're not going to get the new growth of new type of
Of
hair.
hair.
Yeah.
You will get hair that has not been exposed to blow drying, shampooing, colors, chemicals, things of that nature. So in essence, it will be somewhat stronger, but it will not change its texture versus when you go through a chemical alteration from the inside, you are getting a whole new different type of hair growth. Answer
Because
to
it's
answer.
completely, yeah, it's because and I was processing that was what I had. Like she's talking about one person without chemicals
Mhm.
shaving their hair off. Yeah. And you hit it on the head, but the again going back to the cells being killed, that's the difference. The cancer, the chemo treatment, the medication is destroying the hair cells. So they're starting from anew. Whereas the
Yes.
shave, the buzz cut, the hair cells aren't being destroyed.
Yes. And I just saw Astrid, I think you named her Lala, and I'm going to use that, where she said her hair growth is erratic. So I want you to think about what's happening here. Trauma leaves your body fighting to regain its posture again. It is fighting to find its way back to what is a sense of norm. And you then find that you may actually have triggers to offset your growth cycle. And your growth cycle, you have 3 different phases. And Kelly, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about that, because I think it's important in answering why there may be an erratic growth process, or what seems to be erratic with your hair, as opposed to what it used to be. Your growth cycles are pretty set from birth, right? But along comes this treatment, and this treatment is designed to disrupt and interrupt. That's 2 different things. Disrupting, it means it is boom. It is designed to kill the cells, rapid, repeated growth cells. And then it interrupts the growth cycle, which is on almost like an automatic timer. So when you interrupt the growth cycle, it has to cycle all the way back through again to get to where it was when it got interrupted. And so it may seem like, well, I started growing and then it just stopped. And then I didn't seem to get any more growth. And then it was a little bit of growth, and then it looked like it fell out again. So Kelly, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about the 3 phases of hair growth and why it looks like it's erratic at certain points in time.
So there are three growth phases. There's the anagen phase, which is the active phase. That's when your hair is actively growing. And that is the phase where chemotherapy disrupts. And it's called anagen effluvium. And then there's the catagen phase. I always pronounce these words wrong. Catagen phase. Am I saying it right? Catagen?
Yeah.
And that is the transition phase. That's like when you're getting ready to shed, it's like it's just what it is, it's transition. And then there's the telogen phase where your hair is resting. That's where most of I've heard clients say, my hair's not growing anymore, it's up. And it's at its resting phase. But the anagen phase, that is where your hair is actively growing, and chemotherapy just kind of shuts it down. It disrupts the process, like you said. And and then with the when you said your hair will stop growing and then it'll start growing again, your body's not in homeostasis. It's out of whack. Like you said, it's out of balance. And like I said earlier, your hair cells are not essential to your body. It's just I know it seems harsh, and I try to be very, very gentle when I explain this to people, because our hair is our crown and glory. Like
Yes.
no woman wants to go through this process. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for women to grasp this. But what I say to people who I have dealt with who've gone through chemo, it's like, would you rather your life, or would you rather your hair?
Right.
So I assure them your hair will grow back. It's very rare. There's very few cases where a person's hair didn't grow back, but it's temporary, and it will come back.
Yes. Yes. So again, the 3 phases, I'm just going to reiterate what you just said. Anagen is the phase that is actively growing. Okay. So when you see your hair growing and you look up, and in a couple of weeks, it seems like there's more. Then in 6 weeks, it's like you've got a full, almost shadow of hair. And then let's say 8 weeks in, it's seemingly you've got this full, it's starting to thicken in 3 months. And then it just seems to kind of rest a little bit. You've got the anagen phase, which is the growing phase. You've got the catagen phase, which that is almost a transitional phase. It's a phase that it's resting. And then the telogen phase is, we call that the release phase, because in order for you to grow more hair, you have to get rid of the old. And it starts to release those older hairs to make room for the new hair coming in. So once you go through these cycles, the cycle, your hair is constantly going through these cycles, but you'll see it more prevalent in the growth phase. Okay. And so the thing to have is patience. Everybody's growth cycle is different. So someone who has really long hair, typically their growth cycle lasts years. And for someone that has shorter hair and it seems like you can't get beyond a particular length, your growth cycle may be shorter.
Yeah. It's like 3 to 6 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's hereditary. Okay.
It's hereditary, but it could also be other things going on in your body. I see someone in the comments said something about another medication. And, not only does chemo zap, the hair cells, like all the cells, but it also depletes minerals and vitamins in your body. You think about it, when someone's going through chemo, it's hard for them to eat. It's hard for them to take care of themselves. And all of those things play a role in hair growth. It plays a role in healing. So you also have to be mindful of all of those other components when going through chemotherapy.
That is a great segue too into self-care and healthcare when it comes to hair growth. Why is it so important?
It's just like the essentials. It's like the bare basics. It's like it's like critical. Like this is what we need to be doing. This is
right.
zero. This is what needs to be happening to be on the right track. And even going through I don't know, because I've never had cancer, but I've been sick before. And when I think about when I had COVID, you hear about people who had COVID hair loss. And when I had COVID, I tried my best to do everything the same. I went for walks. It was a struggle. I made sure I drank water. I made myself eat. I made sure I slept. I prayed. I tried to be consistent with the things that I was doing. And no, it was not cancer, but it did disrupt my life. And as I'm speaking that, I'm thinking about that was a week out of my life. And you think about someone going through cancer and how it totally can disrupt their life. And initially, yes, it's shocking. I would imagine it could derail someone, but I feel like if you have the right people in your life to help lift you up, and your faith, to help steer you in the right direction. Okay, I had the moment, I have cancer. Okay, now what am I gonna do to beat this thing and to take care of myself as best as I can?
Yes, yes, yes. And it's critical too, Kel, that when you are fighting trauma, any type of trauma, and your hair and your skin and your nails are affected because of exactly what you said. The disruption of your eating habits, the disruption of your rest, the disruption of not allowing stress to off balance your hormones and pH balance, because those are vital to hair growth. Because again, going back to what you said, hair growth is optional. As much as we don't want to admit that, It is optional, but your kidneys, your lungs, your heart, all of those vital organs that are fighting, they're fighting for the same nutrition that your hair bulb and your hair root is fighting for.
Yeah. And it's like,
And
what do
it,
you, if you think it's going to go to the hair root, or you think it's going to go to the kidney? And you know what I mean?
exactly,
It's like,
exactly,
no, your body's like, no, it's going to go
right,
here before it goes there.
right. And so let's dig a little bit deeper into the type of vitamins that help support hair growth, and then even your nutritional balance meals that help to support hair growth. What vitamins would we suggest when you've gone through a trauma like cancer, to make sure that you are, perhaps you can't do it in, on a daily basis, so supplements that may help, with that.
I'm a big advocate for getting vitamins and nutrients from food
Mhm,
before you get them from pills.
mhm.
And I'm going to be honest, like I don't know all of them by heart, all of all of the vitamins by heart, but I know you need vitamin D, I know you need iron, I know you need vitamin K. Like those are the ones that are sticking out to me um right off the top. But you can get a lot of that in the vitamin B, like B12. Those
Mhm.
are those are like those are the ones that are sticking out to me for hair growth. I know a lot of people want to run to biotin. Biotin, a lot of people overdose on biotin. You only need 30 milligrams of biotin a day.
Yeah.
And you can get that like from nuts or eggs, or you know what I mean?
Right.
And people are
And
want to take 10,000 milligrams of
yeah,
biotin, and you don't need it.
you don't. And
No.
the absorption of biotin is not, you, there's so much that you have to do for biotin to be absorbed properly by your
Yes.
body and then converted,
Yes.
into usable
Mm-hmm.
vitamin source.
Mm-hmm.
Versus what you were saying, getting your vitamins from food is your healthiest way
Mm-hmm.
of of, um, of getting the vitamins that you need. And then if you know, especially your iron,
Yeah.
and we know that we just don't get enough sun. So
Right.
vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the K, as you mentioned, is superb
Mm-hmm.
at skin care, nail care, hair care.
Yes.
So those are some of the key elements to look for when you're talking supplemental improvement. And then liquid vitamins versus pill vitamins. The
Mm-hmm.
absorption up underneath
Yeah.
the tongue is a better process,
Yes.
to utilize.
Mm-hmm.
If I could interject and piggyback on what you ladies said, and share a personal moment for me, because transparency equals growth, right? And
Yes.
our testimonies and the things that we go through, ladies, especially as breast cancer survivors, and me realizing in this space of advocacy and having this nonprofit, is that we learn so much from watching and listening to other survivors and what they go through, so we don't make those same mistakes. So I have been going through issues with my thyroid, and my endocrinologist mentioned to me, and I shared this with Belinda last week, that the biotin, which of course I didn't realize this, you kind of grow up hearing, oh, biotin, 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 take this. And she's like, no, do not take any multivitamin that has biotin in it, or else it's going to nix out everything that your thyroid medication is doing. She also stated that it's best to use a topical treatment that has biotin in it versus a supplement that you are swallowing. Okay. And also, to further piggyback on what Belinda was saying about, the way it's being absorbed through the body, you think, oh, okay, this is great information that I'm getting from Kelly and Belinda. Let me go out to the drugstore and get all these vitamins. But guess what? Vitamin B12, it is best to take something that's either chewable or dissolves underneath your tongue. I didn't know this until
Mm-hmm.
last week, right? And the last thing that I want to end with, and I'll let you guys get back to it, is with these vitamins, you need to make sure you're taking them at the right time of day.
Yes.
It's important.
I also want to say you said about absorbing, and I don't want to go too deep because this would this would be like a part of a consultation. But when you said absorbing, how the body absorbs the vitamins, you also have to think about your gut health because sometimes that could hinder your body from absorbing food and vitamins. You know what I mean? There's a lot. There's a lot that goes on with
Yes.
the body. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's, I mean, to your point, that is why your gifting of the consult is so valuable, because it allows you to take an individual and be very specific with them specifically. And because there's so many areas that we can delve over into and spend the whole hour on just in those particular areas. But we want to kind of touch the surface on several things to make sure our viewers are getting a wealth of knowledge that's usable, user friendly, right away. And Astrid, thank you so much for sharing, because you're right. Those are helpful tips that, survivor to survivor, it just helps. It helps a lot, with that. So, I was mentioning, Kel, because you are the self-care queen. It's what I call you. and and I like that you take a natural approach to a lot of the self-care elements that you delve over into. Are there some hair care practices that you would advise our listeners to avoid and or to do when it comes to this the new hair that they're now experiencing 1 year in, 4 years in Astrid's case, 6 years in, it's still somewhat new hair that they're getting accustomed to and used to. What are some of your advice tips for them?
You know, I would give yourself a year. They say 6 months, 4 to 6 months. I would say a year, and everybody's different. And if I had a client in my chair who was going through this, it would depend on what was happening with their hair. This is general. It's not a one size fits all thing that I'm saying. It is right now, but you would have to be specific with your styles. Would have to be specific with you. But it would depend on how your hair is growing in. It would depend on where you are in your healing journey. It would depend on how what your health is like, and the medications. They say you can go back to coloring and perming and relaxing your hair. But most of the people that I found who have gone through chemo and dealing with all of those chemicals, they don't want to. They may want to color their hair, or get it cut, but like some of the other chemicals like the perms and the relaxers, they try to stay away from. I kind of would recommend, it depends on the individual. It depends on the individual. I've had some people who have had cancer, and one in particular I'm thinking of, and I've been through her with the whole process. Her hair is so much thicker. It's like way thicker than what it was prior to her, going through cancer. She doesn't relax her hair, but she just colors it, because she has the grays. Um, that's a tough question to answer, though. I mean, it's not a tough question because it would be based off of the individual. I would
Right.
say give yourself a year. From me, from
Right.
my advice, give yourself a year before you start
Right.
introducing other chemicals. As far as like heat styling, blow drying, and curling and such, you may be able to do that after the 6 months if you have some growth. If you have enough growth, I think it would still be kind of short in 6 months,
Right.
after going through chemo.
Right.
6 months to a year, just to see how the hair is growing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have I have two specific clients that I want to kind of give their track and answer a question I saw in the chat there. And that I had actually a family member that was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And when we went through treatment, she lost all of her hair. In the process of that, as it began to grow back, of course, it was very different in texture. That has now been 4 years in, and we have decided to keep it somewhat a short layered cut because her growth pattern never came back to what it was beforehand, because she is going to be on a low dose of chemo for the rest of her life. And so it affected her hair growth coming forward. So I want to share that I did a low ammonia, and if you're choosing to do chemical or a color after chemo or radiation or some invasive form of treatment, if you can make sure that it is a low ammonia or no ammonia, demi permanent type of color, nothing more aggressive than that, so that it does not then interrupt yet again your growth cycle. You will find that you can still get enough coverage for gray hair, because predominantly now we're seeing a lot of people wanting to do it for gray coverage. You might get a little bit of lighter color with it, but it will not take you from a dark brown all the way up to a blonde. It's designed to be more enhancing, add a little bit of depth, add a little bit of shine, give you a little bit of luster to the hair. But low ammonia or no ammonia, demi, which is somewhat of a permanent color, but without the aggressiveness of a permanent color. Okay. But we did that with her. It gave her enough basis. And so now we're maintaining the growth that we've gotten with her. And I had another client, she too, and please forgive me, I know I'm butchering it, but she has the gene. So she chose to do a double mastectomy, and again is still on treatments, in the process of being on the treatments before she'll be able to be weaned off. And her hair was her glory, so much so that when her husband looks at her, one of the things that's her challenge is that she doesn't feel that he loves her as much anymore, because the two things he said that he loved about her when they were getting married was her behind and this long hair. And because of the treatments and because of the steroids and because of all of that, she has neither at this point that is enhanced. So one of the things that we found in the case with both of these clients was that we use topical, organic, plant-based agents to help grow their hair and keep their hair strong. And the topicals are designed to act like a plant fertilizer, for lack of a better way to describe it. That's exactly what it is. And by applying it topically once a week, you're strengthening and fortifying the hair root that's growing, so that the hair that is beginning to grow remains strong. As it gets longer and the weight of the hair gets heavier, it doesn't pull out. It allows it to stay in this growth cycle a little bit longer. It enhances the hair so that it is as full and has as much volume as possible. I wholeheartedly believe that this is an enhancement that works. when you're also doing the work on the inside. So Kelly, I'm going to turn it over as I put in the chat. I'm going to put the name of the product in the chat room, Astrid. And Kelly, I want you to talk about what needs to happen from the inside to support this hair that's growing and being enriched from the outside with this, strengthener, this topical strengthener that helps the root be strong.
So I'm going to reiterate, because I've mentioned it earlier when I kind of was talking about self-care. Making sure you're getting your water. You're supposed to drink half your body weight in water. And water does a lot, and it helps, to filter out and flush out the toxins, which going through chemotherapy, just in general, you have a lot of toxins in your body. So making sure you're drinking enough water to flush everything out, making sure you are eating a balanced diet. And again, that looks different for everybody. Some people, can't do dairy. Some people can't do meat. Some people have allergies. Some people have gluten allergies. Eating to the way that is best for your body, but just making sure it's balanced and it's healthy. Watch your processed foods. Try to have home cooked meals, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner as much as you could stomach it with going through the chemotherapy. Making sure you're resting. There's a lot of healing that takes place in your body while you are resting. A lot. Like your body just repairs itself. So I'm trying to make it quick. Resting, doing things that make you happy, like give you joy. Because it's already like a sad, for some people it's sad. So doing things that make you joy, spending time with people that make you happy, spending time outside. I know I'm here in New England right now, coming back down there though this week, but like I try to make myself go outside in the cold. I don't want to, but once I get out there, it feels good. So I imagine someone going through chemo, cancer treatment, or even recovering post chemo, getting outside in nature, in the air. There's so many healing properties outside in the air and in nature. And then just, praying. That rejuvenates you from the inside out. That's like soul work. That's soul care. So making sure that you're taking care of your soul. All of those things, believe it or not, help to heal your body from the inside. It helps to absorb things from the inside. I don't know about you guys, but I know when my body is out of whack, when I'm not doing those basic things. Those are basic things that you can do, which a lot of people don't do.
Yeah.
And exercising. Astrid.
That part.
That part. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Even just walking, like this walking, it doesn't have to be a power walk. You don't got to walk like you in the Olympics. Just mosey,
Well, Belinda, I want to make sure that I answer or get answered some of the questions that are coming into the chat. So we have one pink diva, who wants to know about the difference of radiation. So for a lot of us, some of us didn't get chemotherapy, but yet we had to undergo radiation, right, which is burning away, right, those cancer cells. And of course, literally, you have burns, right? And that affects the hair as well for some. So I'm not sure if you've had any experience with dealing with clients that had radiation, but could you speak from a hairstylist perspective or even a hair loss perspective, how the radiation and, what to do differently with that?
Yes.
Or is it one?
Well,
Kelly, I don't, I'll go first, and then you can add to if your portion. With radiation, my experience has been that because it is a burning sensation, your scalp in other portions of your body will literally go through, again, a dead cell phase. And so I find that whenever that happens, we end up having to put our client on a exfoliation and detox regimen for the skin so that we can get rid of all of the dead skin cells. And one of the active ingredients in that, it is charcoal. Charcoal infused into the shampoo, and that shampoo being able to be used on the scalp. But I also had my clients use it for their hands in areas where you would see that the skin almost turned a blackish color. Again, Renee Federer has a particular product that has the charcoal already infused in it, and while it's designed for the scalp, it is excellent also to use just as a topical, wherever you may experience it, because you've got to get rid of and exfoliate the dead skin so that the new skin can emerge. Very similar to when you get an exfoliation for your facial. You're doing the same element for your scalp, which may be affected, as well. Does it affect the hair growth? In some cases, yes. And that's, again, because it's designed to kill the cells, and it has no way to know what's a good cell versus a bad cell. And so it kills all cells. And so the key then is to get the skin back to a vibrancy after the radiation. Kelly?
And I agree. I'm new to the Renee Federer line, and I'm still learning it, and I'm excited about it because of what it does. Like, as I'm learning about it and experiencing it and seeing it, and knowing that, it's natural and it's, organic and the botanical and all of that. Like, those are the type of products that you need. Not that I'm pumping Renee Federer, but those are, in general, when you're going through radiation, your like Miss Belinda said, your skin and everything, it's altered, and you need gentle, natural products to get your skin back the way it was, and also
Right.
to help it go through that process, to help push that process along.
Right.
Yeah. You covered, like, you hit everything.
Well, and the other thing, as you were talking, that came to my mind is the fact that your skin, your scalp skin, holds the hair follicles.
Yes.
And if the scalp is compromised, the hair follicle,
Can't
that's
grow.
the foundation of every hair follicle.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that we practice a 2-track process: scalp and hair. Both need to be healthy in order for them to coexist together. And so in this case, we're dealing with the skin taking a direct hit with radiation. It needs to be healed in order to house these wonderful, strong strands of hair that will begin to grow back in it.
Well, I think this is amazing. We have 6 minutes left, and I just kind of want to tie in both the self-care and the hair care aspect. As a survivor and as the founder of Pink Divas United, these are webinars, these are discussions that I want to have more of. So in the comment section, for those that are still here, please write down some things that you would like to hear more about as a survivor, and how it can help you grow and overcome. And, speaking to the self-care queen here, she hit it on the head. You want to make sure you're getting rest, right? You want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water, half of your body weight. Sometimes you can overhydrate, right? You want to make sure that you're getting those electrolytes and that balance in to the body. And of course, making sure that you're getting your vitamins from your food, right? They tell us all the time, especially as a personal trainer, having that background in fitness nutrition, even though I need to get back on it, right?
Mhm.
And Belinda will tell you that, shopping the outskirts of the supermarket, right? Your meats, your produce, right? And not being inside those middle aisles where you have tons of fillers, gluten, right? Some things that we don't really need to have in our body. And it's important to know these things and to have joy, right? Because guess what, guys? We know that if our personal lives are not in order, right? That we're not practicing self-care, we're not putting ourselves first, we're not taking care of the temples that God has given us for a short time while we're on here. I mean, we are so blessed as survivors. And even if you haven't gone through cancer, the mere fact that you are here today on this webinar, you are blessed. And there's
Yeah.
still things that God wants to do through you and with you. So if you're not practicing good self-care tactics, then guess what? Everything that you're doing to get your hair in order, it will fall out because you're stressed and you're not allowing yourself to have the capacity to receive all this stuff. So I want to remind you, ladies, again, if you haven't done it already, please make sure you tag 3 breast cancer survivors. And maybe if you don't know any breast cancer survivors, tag 3 other women. Okay. And make sure that you're following Kelly Thadison. Okay. She put her IG up on here. Let me go back to Kelly. Can you let us know what your IG is? A lot of messages here. Okay. It's K Rochelle Salon BKB. So that's K Rochelle ROCHELLE Salon BKB on Instagram. And then you have Salon BKB that you need to follow, as well as Pink Divas United on Instagram. And we will announce our winner on Wednesday, okay, on a Facebook Live. Or is Instagram Live better for you or Facebook Live?
Either one.
Okay. So we'll do Instagram Live. I think we'll kind of get more people. So we'll do Instagram Live. Since we're telling you to tag us on Instagram, we'll do Instagram Live and we'll announce the winner. Okay. And as I said before, you'll be able to have a 30-minute in-person or virtual consultation with Miss Kelly Thadison and have a one-on-one personalized session for your hair growth and for your self-care. So
Awesome.
thank you guys so much. This was really informative, especially about the biotin. I learned something new about the radiation because guess what? I said, okay, you took my breast. I had to do 6 months of chemo. I was done. Okay. I don't want to have no radiation. I don't want to have any burns. And, I think the next will kind of divert into the next to talk about hair care and self-care amongst those women that are colored like ourselves, right? Because I know what you, Belinda, you work with all different hair textures and hair types and Caucasian, Asian, everything. You work with a plethora of different clientele. And I want to say the same for Kelly, even though Kelly and I are new to knowing one another. But it's important to know that our hair may not react and grow back the same way as other people that don't look like us. And I hope I'm safe to say that because I'm not a hairstylist, but
there is truth to what you're saying because of the shape of the hair
curl.
follicle.
Yeah.
okay.
And
So
that distinguishes how rapidly the hair would grow versus maybe a little slower.
Slower. Yeah.
okay, good. Well, listen, this was very informative. Thank you so much for your time on a Sunday evening. And please, if you guys have any further questions, you can email me at astrid@pinkdivasunited.org. That's astrid@pinkdivasunited.org. Belinda and Kelly, can you put down your email address as well, just in case some of the ladies have some questions they want to ask you? And also, I know we put down your Instagram handle, but I know a lot of people may not have Instagram or they prefer Facebook instead. So if you have a Facebook page, please put that down as well.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think what my email is. Wait a minute.
Well, I just want to say I enjoyed coming on. Thank you for having us, Astrid, and thinking about us. And anything that I can do to help or assist, please do not hesitate, guys.
Yes, and I'm super excited that Pink Divas United, we have a soft launch of our website, but this week we are going to be rolling out our full service website, and it's going to be a plethora of resources and education videos. We're going to also incorporate some self-care videos, and I'm hoping that I can tap Kelly to do some self-care videos, and Belinda, myself, and other experts within the industry. And one important thing, which kind of brings everything together, we're going to also have a mental health hotline. So almost like a suicide hotline. We have therapists that are going to come on board, and you can email them and receive a 10 or 15-minute coaching session pro bono to kind of help you get through either your week or something that you're struggling with. And if you have not already found out about our Dubai retreat, it's going to be February 17th through the 22nd of next year coming up to Dubai. It's going to be an incredible retreat of bonding, educating, having some fun, meeting other breast cancer survivors from around the world. And you can visit www.thepinkdivasthrivingretreat.net to book your trip now. So ladies, thank you guys so much. Happy Sunday.
Thank you, everybody.
And I'm so excited. So see you ladies later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.